Okay, so this is my weekly reflection for January 4th, 2021. So, what were my three wins this week? My three wins were writing my future and filming my future self post, um, my progress so far post and video, and then announcing my website on social media and to specific friends and family. All right, how am I feeling about my keystone goal and future self? I'm feeling so that's been really interesting actually. Um, so one of the changes I made was to cut out kind of irrelevant pleasure reading and then just replace that with pleasure reading that hasn't been my focus um, of like what I'm working on for most of the day. And so what that has been in practice has been reading like political and like type stuff in the evenings, and it's like dominated. um, like the plus side is I really enjoy that because like that, and that's good because that's like what I plan to spend time on long term. But it's been like hard to not just want to read that stuff or learn about that stuff all day long, and that's like been a problem in terms of actually accomplishing my day-to-day and weekly goals. um, so I guess like that's relevant to this, and I feel like my like aspects of that connect to my like long-term future self are overshadowing my pursuit of my keystone goal. And I've had to like remind myself a bunch, but not necessarily been successful, at least on a behavioral level, of no, like this is a necessary, like my keystone goal, like living an intentional life is a necessary step to then getting to do like activism and organizing and stuff. Um, so, did I accomplish my weekly goals? No. Uh, it's the short version. So my number one fraud goal was to like finish my website and announce it. And my goal had been to do that on New Year's Eve. I ended up postponing that to New Year's Day, and then I also um, didn't get all the features I wanted. Specifically, I was missing my daily accountability section, a section about my routines, and with the starting point for my where I'm at with my stretching right now, and then uploading Toolkit 0.1, and then creating and uploading my monthly and 90-day goals. But the like when I had was getting the other components of it done and still posting it. Um, and then my other two major goals were cleaning my digital space, which I didn't do at all or make any progress towards. And then my other was like committing to and leveling up my routine. And that was a mixed bag. I did kick the parasocial podcasts, but I didn't formalize it and like write out or post anywhere, write out for myself or post anywhere what podcasts were acceptable or really formulate like rules around their use, which was part of the goal. And then I did eliminate pleasure reading, but then as I mentioned earlier, or irrelevant pleasure reading, but then my pleasure reading became, if anything, like more compulsive, not less. So that was a challenge, and didn't. But in a way, so that part of the goal made sense. I did not stick to waking up at 5:30 every day, um, or create my one sheet, or really, or commit to and stick to a nightly routine. Um, what worked well this week? So once again, like eating the frog worked well. I made most of my progress towards my goals, like pretty much all of it in the first couple days. And that was like attacking it as it went on, and then my momentum just decreased as the week went by. So it worked well in a weekly sense, but then I need to figure out how to apply that strategy on a daily basis. Um, and then the other was journaling. Because I was struggling a lot, I found like the journaling, especially the last couple of days, as it's really been irrefutable that I was like not gonna meet my goals for the week. Journaling has helped me like process that, and then also get some insights and ideas about what's really going on for me and how to change that. Um, okay, so what did I struggle with this week? So I struggled a lot, obviously, in terms of like not meeting my goals. Um, and I think the part that bothers me the most is that I felt unintentional with a lot of my time. Like there's levels to it. Like on one hand, I've cut out like so much stuff that my unintentional time was still like in the overall like content of it related to my interests and like my long-term future self, but it wasn't done intentionally. It was just it was impulsive and it wasn't systematic. And like I said earlier, is like these things that are like vague, truly but vaguely related to my long-term goals got in the way of me actually executing on my short-term like concrete goals. And then I overall like I struggled on procrastination, and that was like the other side of it, and this like wanting to read and do all this educational stuff not related to my current goals was both caused me to procrastinate more, but also was like in part caused by me procrastinating on stuff. I think particularly the goal of like cleaning my computer feels overwhelming. And then it's been interesting, like the having the site really works, in that I felt a lot more pressure around completing my goals, and I know that because I woke up today feeling like crap, and after feeling a little bit better after going through my morning routine, and then while I was journaling, I realized, oh, this is how I used to feel like all the time when I'd go to school and not have my work done. And so that like both sucks, but it's a good opportunity for me to like work through that stuff going forward, and also evidence that the site really does provide or this external pressure that I was wanting it to. But that was really today how I knew I was like had been procrastinating, and that was like a big part of the story, was because of how I felt. Like I used to be like not doing my homework basically. And then the other part, it sucks. It feels bad to like, like eat shit on my goals the first week after I announced the site. It's like, hey, welcome to my stuff. I'm doing all this stuff. Here's what I said I was going to do last week, and I didn't really do anything. Well, that's not true. I didn't accomplish a lot of it. And so I think that a lot of that's like, I mean, that's true, but like it just is what it is now. And also there's like some level of rationality to it. I think the part that I feel is more legitimate is I don't want it to become a pattern, right? Because I'm not always going to be making my goals. But if I'm never making my goals, then I'm just going to become used to that, and anyone following the site is going to become used to that. And that's not what I want. But I also, as much as that's true, and I really, like I said, I was like feeling sick to my stomach today about it. But I was really getting the site done enough, or as much as I did, and then pushing through my anxiety to post about it. That it was a big accomplishment. So like the week was not at all a total loss, even though it was disappointing and really ended with a whimper. Okay, so what adjustments am I gonna make based on any my struggles this week and any insights I've had? So I've come back to thinking a lot about sequencing, and in terms of like relative to like keystone habits, like what can I do that's gonna like cascade into other stuff, and that's the biggest stuff I think is getting on a schedule again. So waking up at the same time, and then doing a nightly routine that sets my goals for the next day, so that I know exactly what I'm going to be doing the next day, and I don't have to like decide that in the morning before I start working. And so I decided to schedule out my days. I don't think I'm going to put that in the video just because it'll be unnecessarily long, but in the video where I do my goals for the next week portion, but I will put that in writing about like, so instead of just listing my goals for the week, I'm also going to kind of map out where I intend to, like when I intend to work on each of them. So that I kind of have a roadmap and can see gradually if I'm on task or not. And yeah, like to pace myself through the week. And then making sure I have a clear first step for every goal. So I spent a lot more time working on my weekly check-in this week because I wanted to try to get those first steps for myself so that there's nothing I have to work on where like the first step of it during the day is going to be figuring out what to do with the rest of it. It's like I'm going to do the figuring now or the night before in some cases or whatever, so that then I don't have to do it. I can just like dive into some actual work once I'm like getting started on a project. So the other thing, like one thing that kept me, I feel like, from sticking with my my sleep schedule this week is I've had conflicting urges around either, like on one hand, I want to be on a regular sleep schedule. I want to particularly shift from staying up late and getting up late to going to bed early and going to sleep and waking up early. But also this idea that like I want to have enough sleep to like recharge and be healthy. And there's something like if you have two goals that like overlap, you don't have any. I don't know what the non-butchered version of that is. But anyway, right, like those were coming into conflict. And so trying to figure out how, basically like, yeah, sleep in the long term, really important. But in the short term, like for this week or however long it takes me to get my body acclimated to the sleep schedule I want, then getting enough sleep is going to be not a priority as much as getting my body on the schedule. So I'm gonna get up at 5:30 and not take any naps or like BS throughout the day, all week, and no matter what time I go to bed. And if that means I have some days like this coming night, because I'm filming this late, where I'm not gonna have much sleep, that's okay. It's obviously not ideal, but that'll eventually allow me to get acclimated to my new schedule. Whereas before, it was like I'd stay up too late one night, and then this is what happened. I stayed up too late one night, and then I was like, well, if I try to get up at my 5:30 wake up time, I'm gonna have so little sleep, and it's gonna be crap, and my body needs sleep. But then like after that, my bedtime was just back to being BS the whole rest of the week. So I'm not gonna do that this week. And then the other change I'm making is to start tracking the time I spend working on projects again. Or not so much tracking, because I've continued to track, but committing to working like a certain amount of time I I still think like quality of time is more important than quantity, but I need to have like some sort of quantity baseline so that I'm not, because I found last week, even though like when I was making my goals for the week, I was like, oh, this is gonna keep me busy all week. But then as the days went on, it was like, oh, I can like push this off to one more day. I'm gonna have enough time. And it's like, no, I need to do work every day. Um, so I looked at some strategies for killing procrastination before I did this, and that's kind of integrated into these ideas. Another thing, I'm gonna do a bunch of environmental design stuff. I need to get. I'm gonna get my chair set up so I can actually sit at my desk instead of just standing at it. Because what's been happening is I don't want to stand at it for a lot, and then I go and sit in my reading chair, and then I don't want to do work, and that's not been good. And decluttering some other stuff. So those are the interventions I'm gonna make. Oh, I guess to be clear on the work schedule thing, I'm gonna be working on projects for like at least 8 hours a day, and get back to that. So that'll, and from there I'm gonna transition to the next video, which is gonna be what my goals are for the next week.